Hi, everybody. It's Craig from Picks and Parlays NFL Week 3. We got Sundays, 5 free betting picks for you, including the Sunday night football game. So I've got esteemed Scott Stehn as always, and we've got Cam Ross in addition this week. So don't forget, if you haven't done so, make sure you like and subscribe. We put out these videos. The Thursday night football goes out on Wednesday night. The Sunday game goes out late on Thursday, and then the Monday night football goes out on Saturday. So make sure you like and subscribe the Picks and Parlays channel so that way you don't miss out. And then use that promo code EDGE to save on our best bets. We like all these plays, but our best bets, of course, are always for our premium subscribers. So make sure you use that promo code EDGE and save 20% off on all the subscriptions or daily packages. All right, let's kick it off. Well, that's not the game we're looking at. We'll kick it off in the Bears and the Colts. A Bears team coming off an ugly performance in the prime time, facing a Colts team that, has not really put it all together yet. Colts are a slight favorite here just because I'm guessing they're the home favorite here, or the home team, -1.5, total 43.5. Cam Ross, what do you like in this one?
Both of these teams have been pretty lackluster this season. The Bears do have a win. The Colts do not, as you said. I like the Colts here, to get their first win of the season. Anthony Richardson, he's got outrageous arm strength. He's thrown 4 interceptions, but he's thrown for over 400 yards. Caleb Williams, I feel like he had his really welcome to the NFL moment a week ago. A couple of picks. He was getting touched up. He was getting rushed. He wasn't comfortable. I think that's going to happen a lot to him this year. That offensive line isn't awesome. They don't have a ton of intangibles to get him going. He's still learning on the fly. This Indianapolis team, they fared well last season. They were right there on the cusp of a playoff berth. But fortunately for them, in that AFC South, Houston's 2-0. Everybody else is 0-2. So, they're right there amongst everybody else. I like Indianapolis here to overwhelm the Bears. I think the Bears are going to have a ton of struggles. I think Caleb Williams is going to go through the growing pains of the league. I'm going to take the Colts on not even a field goal number.
Yeah, a lot of people thought, just plug and play a quarterback and then all of a sudden you're playoff bound. And, obviously we've seen so far that has not been the case for the Bears. And when you look at this, Scott, we see 66%. This is midweek still, but 66% on the Colts on the spread and 61% on the under. What are you thinking in this matchup?
I'm wondering how many weeks we have to go until we can start making Jamarcus Russell comparisons for Caleb Williams. I know it's a little early after 2 weeks, but the best thing you can say about him in that game against the Texans is at least he threw for 100 yards. That was not a good offensive performance for the Bears. The Indianapolis Colts played Green Bay. Green Bay said, we're going to run the ball until you stop us. Spoiler alert, they never did. 53 carries, 261 yards against that porous Colts run defense. Anthony Richardson struggled, 17-34 for 2 bills, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Taylor did start finding his groove a little bit. He carried the ball 12 times for 103 yards. Makes you wonder why they ever threw the ball. Problem for the Bears, they don't have anybody to take advantage of that bad rush defense. Caleb Williams is the leading rusher with 59 yards in 2 games. Swift is averaging 2 yards a carry, and Herbert and Homer have been non-factors so far. Bears have just 1 offensive TD this season. While Williams may ultimately be the answer, he ain't the answer yet. I think we're going to see a lot of punts in this one, but I think this one stays under the total of 43.5.
Exactly what I was thinking. Great minds think alike, Scott. Absolutely. I think this one, if you get to 20, you win this game. I really think, I really could feel like neither team gets there. I could see 16-13 type of game. The Colts, you got to figure out a way to run the ball more consistently and then just play action, because Anthony Richardson is not a drop back passer, at least not yet in his career. So I'm going to take the under in this matchup. I'm not going to overthink it. The Colts, the first week, they scored a lot of points, but it wasn't because they were passing the ball. They had that one unbelievable pass. After that, that was like the highlight everybody showed on Twitter and everything. And Anthony Richardson's, oh, no, he's not a good passer. Under 43.5 in this week 3 matchup, Bears and Colts. And the Bears, it's almost a must-win. That's why I stayed off the side on this one. It's almost a must-win if you're that Bears team, because, if you lose again, week 1, you got lucky. You got the pick 6. They got lucky to win that game. And then they were embarrassed last week. Then all of a sudden now it's real pressure on your rookie quarterback. All right, so the next game we're looking at, Chargers and Steelers, much better game. We got two teams that I don't think a whole lot of people thought these two teams would be undefeated at this point, but that's the case here. I was a little shocked we see this line at -2.5 and a total. I did expect a low total, and we get that at 36 here. I'm looking for the numbers. When we get to the Steelers, of course, they're a big public team. We even see the number at 1 in some spots now. So this number, make sure you shop this number around. We're midweek. We see 58% of people on the Chargers and 57% of people on the under. What do you like, Scott?
Here's a surprise to me. Everybody knows about the Steelers' great defense, but the Chargers, these are the two teams that have allowed the fewest points in the NFL so far through the first 2 weeks. J.K. Dobbins, holy mackerel, he is unstoppable. 27 carries, 266 yards. If you're thinking that's almost 10 yards a carry, you're absolutely right. But that should come with a huge asterisk because so far they've faced the Raiders and Panthers. They're definitely stepping up in class this week. I think they're going to have a little less success against this Steelers defense that has allowed just 3.7 yards per carry. That's good for 6th in the NFL. Now, as of this recording right now, Craig, Justin Herbert's status is still questionable with a leg injury. X-rays were negative, but he's still up in the air. And even if he plays, he almost certainly won't be 100%. I don't love this Steelers offense, says everyone all the time. They have to get Harris going in the backfield. They have to figure out how to run the ball. But I think their defense, that's only given up 16 points in 2 games, rises to the occasion again in this one. I'll take the Steelers minus the 22.5 and fade the public.
This is one of those, if you like the Steelers, I think it's kind of like a correlated parlay type game. So that's what I'm going to play here. I'm going to take the Steelers. I see it at 1 right now, so I'm going to take the 1, and I'm going to take the under. I think if it's an under game, the Steelers win and cover. Maybe just play it on the money line. Never know. But either way, I like the Steelers and the under in this matchup. I think we've seen that they've said, hey, we're not going to turn the ball over. If we don't turn the ball over, we're going to win a lot of games with this defense that's healthy this year and a good running game. I like the Steelers and the under. Cam, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with both of you. This is the first one we've all flipped the board on. The Steelers defense is phenomenal. As he said, they've given up 16 points, just 1 touchdown. They kicked 6 field goals in week 1, never scored a touchdown, and won the game nearly by 2 possessions. But the Chargers defense has been solid too. But Josh Taylor, Olahai Gilliam, Bud Dupree, and Joey Bosa, they're all questionable in this game. Hayden Hurst is questionable as well. But whichever quarterback plays for the Steelers, their defense is going to be too much. They can rely on the run, as you guys said, just pound it out. They clearly have a good kicker, get in range, and the defense will do the rest. So I think the Steelers are going to cover this small number.
A big home field edge too. I mean, and you got a West Coast team coming east, which is always something I like to bet against. Not a big fan of the West Coast playing early, especially on the 1 o'clock time slot on the Eastern Coast. So there we go. Chargers, Steelers, we all in agreement on this one. So maybe not in agreement on this one. Panthers and the Raiders. Panthers, hey, week 3, why not? Change quarterback. Your number 1 quarterback, taken number 1 overall pick last year. Go see the bench. And my former Bengal, Andy Dalton, is the answer, they say now. Raiders minus 5.5, total 40. Cam, I'm going to go to you on this one to start this ugly matchup.
Yeah, Andy Dalton, he's on a $5 million contract. So for them to have paid him that, I feel like they knew he was going to play. But Carolina's been terrible. They were terrible last year. They're bad again this year. They've been outscored 73-13. It's been ugly. Vegas lost their week 1 matchup on the road. They got the win in Baltimore. But just like you said with the Pittsburgh game, this is going to be a home field advantage thing for Las Vegas. This is their first road game of the year. Allegiant's probably going to be loud. Gardner Minshew, he's bounced around through a ton of teams, and people still say he's not an NFL quarterback, but he started for multiple teams. I do think Andy Dalton will be an improvement. He's bigger. He's more seasoned in the NFL. He has more experience. But I'm going to take the Raiders to continue to roll, to lean off their success from a week ago. I think they'll find a way because the Panthers are just bad all over the field. So I'm going to take the Raiders to cover the number in their first home game.
I can tell you this. I'm not going to lay 5.5 points with the Raiders ever this year. They're great defense, but I like Minshew as an underdog. But he's not a guy that historically is laying 5.5 points against anybody. And Carolina have been the laughingstocks. And you want to hear something? And last week, all the big favorites that, lost. 79% are on the Raiders, minus the 5.5. That tells you the public is on one side. I'm going to be on the opposite. The sharp side is the Carolina Panthers plus 5.5 with a new quarterback. I think they get a little boost here. Scott, what do you break the tie here?
You're wrong, Craig. Sorry, buddy. It is hard to get behind a team that is last in the league in points scored and last in the league in points allowed. You add into the fun, they're starting a 37-year-old quarterback who hasn't started a game, who started one game since 2022.
Hey, he's the Red Rifle.
He's
the Red Rifle.
He's the Red Rifle. Red Rifle, meet Max Crosby. The extra X in his name is for the two X's that are going to be on his eyes like a cartoon, and he's laid out on that field. Craig, you're right. I don't love this Raiders team. They still can't run the ball. Minshew is still Minshew. But even if Dalton is a slight upgrade over Bryce Young, and seriously, who wouldn't be at this point, doesn't help the defense. Unless he's playing middle linebacker, I think the Raiders are going to score some points. And until the Panthers prove to me that they aren't the NFL version of the Chicago White Sox, I'm going to lay the points and take my chances, buddy. Sorry, 2-1.
Well, I would say this, and we'll get to it because we have the next play. Anybody that's facing the Saints, you have to throw out that game because they're on fire right now on offense. So you throw that game out. They weren't nearly as bad last week on defense. I think the Saints are a really popular team this week, and we'll talk about them in a little bit. But so we're 2-1 on the Raiders. I'm on the Panthers here. We'll see. We'll see who's right. This is an ugly matchup, and these ugly matchups in the NFL, historically, they're ugly for a reason. This one, it might be the first team that scores a touchdown wins this and covers this game. All right, let's go to the Ravens and the Cowboys. Speaking about a team that got hammered by the Saints last week, this Cowboys team absolutely embarrassed at home in their home opener. Ravens not much better. They were up double digits against Oakland. Well, not Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders. And now they're a favorite on the road. It's a little like I had to go look. Is Dak not playing? Is CD not playing? Like, who's not playing that the Cowboys aren't favorite at home? They've been money at home recently. Ravens -1. Scott, what do you like in this one?
Yeah, like you were saying, Craig, this is that loss last week against New Orleans was just the second loss at AT&T Stadium during the regular season since the beginning of the 2022 season. So they are a very good home team historically. I like the fact that Derrick Henry finally got it going a little bit last week. 18 carries, 84 yards in the score. Ravens obviously still had that fourth quarter collapse against the Raiders. But I think Derrick Henry is going to look to dominate a Dallas defense that was absolutely torched by Kamara last week, giving up 5.8 yards per carry on his way to 115 yards and 3 scores. Dallas giving up 4.9 yards per carry this season. That's in the bottom 10 in the NFL. I got to tell you that Dallas win against the Browns looks a lot less impressive now. And a couple of trends that I like with the Ravens, 9-0 straight up against NFC opponents. And they have covered 8 of their last 10 after a loss. I'll ride the favorites. They're the favorites for a reason. It looks like an okie doke. I don't think it is. I'll take the birds and lay the points.
I think a lot of people are thinking the Ravens are, since they're 0-2, like this means a lot. And listen, if anybody knows slow starts, it's my Bengals. So I know it doesn't. Listen, the Bengals were 0-2 a couple seasons ago and then went 0-3. I think they went 1 in their first 4 and then end up making the playoffs. So it can happen to good teams because the schedules can end up tough at the beginning of the year. I think the Ravens have had a very tough schedule. Obviously not the Raiders, but this is a second out of 3 games against playoff teams. I like the Cowboys here. The Cowboys at home, like you said, have been money. I just don't understand why they're not favored here. I mean, I just don't get it. I think this Cowboys team is for real. I still think they have a chance to win that division. We saw how bad the Eagles were last week. Their coaching totally outplayed in the end of that game, lost to the Falcons. I like the Cowboys here. I think they moved to 2-1 and put the Ravens at 0-3. Cam, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Baltimore. The Cowboys, you said they are a really, really good home team, but they've given up 51 points through 2 games. And on paper, this is probably the best team they've played yet. Derrick Henry's going to be an issue. They haven't seen anything like Lamar yet, but Mozzie Smith, Malik Hooker, Trevon Diggs on the defensive side, they're all hurt. They're all questionable. Jake Ferguson and CeeDee Lamb are also questionable. So even if these guys play, they're all estimated to return on the 22nd, so they're expected to play. But it doesn't sound like they're going to be 100%. And I think, especially with Pittsburgh opening the year 2-0, and as we stated earlier, we all expect them to be 3-0. Baltimore has to make their move, even with the struggles and everything like that. I think Lamar will get it going. I think Derrick will continue to get it going. I think he's going to chew up the middle of that Dallas line. I'm going to take Baltimore to get the win, to continue the Dallas struggles, and maybe put another nail in the coffin to blow this team up.
Wow, they're not blowing the Cowboys up because they're going to make the playoffs again, and Jerry Jones just wants to be relevant. So that's all he's looking for. He doesn't usually. He probably could have made a coaching change, probably should have, but that's not what he's looking for. He's looking to just stay relevant, richest owner in the league as far as value of the team, and so there you have it. Ravens 2-1 against me. All right, so we're going to go to the Scott's team again. It's they're one of the featured games every week. This is the third week in a row. 2-0. I'm just saying, I think they got a little help there. They were holding on that call where they called the pass interference. Should have probably been, offsetting penalties. But we see the Chiefs at 2-0 for a reason. They continue to find ways. They play good defense. They did turn the ball over last week, but historically, they don't turn the ball over. They win the turnover battle. And they're facing a Falcons team like that, yes, they won that game. But it really was more about the Eagles. They did not look good for basically 3/4 of that game again. There's something wrong with Kirk Cousins. I'm taking the Chiefs minus 3.5. I know it's a square play a little bit. A lot of public's on the Chiefs. I can't see how the Falcons, this Chiefs defense can put pressure without blitzing. And that's going to spell trouble for the Falcons here. What do you like, Cam, in this matchup?
Yeah, you know where I live, and I'm still going to take the Chiefs. The Chiefs, they've given up 45 points in both of their games, but they're still one of the best teams in the league. And, to touch on that holding call there at the end, since 2018, Patrick Mahomes has had 17 interceptions reverted due to penalties. So, that's always something to think about. Everybody says, they always have the 12th man in the pinstripes, but I agree. I think they're gonna get to Cousins. I actually wrote a prop earlier saying Cousins is going to throw at least one pick. I think the Chiefs are going to get it going. The Chiefs are hearing all this. Oh, they're not that good. They're getting the help. This may be one of those games where they show the league they're still the Chiefs and try to run it up. So I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover the number as well.
Scott, it sounds like I think they picked up Kareem Hunt, right? The Chiefs did because they're banged up. They're banged up at the squad. So I don't know. He might get some playing time this weekend with the injuries. What do you like with your Chiefs?
Well, I think we need a couple lumps of sugar to go with all this bitter tea you guys are throwing out there about the Chiefs, man. That's, after their blowout win of the Bengals, they head to Atlanta, take on the Falcons. If you look at the stats, the Chiefs' run defense does not look all that impressive. But here's the deal. They gave up 5.8 yards per carry against Baltimore, but Jackson went for 122 of those. He averaged 7.8 by himself. Henry and Hill ran for just 49. And that's 3.5 yards per carry, and no run was longer than 9 yards. Now, the Bengals ran for just 71 yards, but 31 of those were on 4 carries by Chase Brown. Bijan Robinson will be the best back they've seen this season. And guess what? Allgeier may be the second best, depending on whether you think Henry is washed up or not. The Chiefs, they were absolutely gashed by Cincinnati tight ends last week. 151 yards on 14 catches between the three of them. The Falcons, they're trying to get Pitts the ball more. I think this could be a big game for him. After winning the 2 games on the last play, Chiefs should probably be 1-1, if not 0-2. Losing Pacheco is a huge deal. Steele is a fun story, but he's had some tough runs. But he's really a fullback, and he isn't any kind of outside threat. P. Ryan always looks okay in the preseason, but there's a reason he hasn't seen much regular season action. And that's it. Those are the only 2 healthy backs on the depth chart right now. They did sign Hunt. He's still on the practice squad as of today. And Kansas City, perhaps even more importantly, they have a serious left tackle problem. They drafted a rookie out of BYU in the second round, and he got replaced in the last game. That is not going to be very good at all going forward. If this Chiefs offense is going to be one-dimensional, Mahomes is going to have his hands full every time they drop back. Falcons, they've done a very good job keeping everything in front of them. I'm not sure Mahomes is going to have any time in the pocket to take many deep shots. I think this is a bad spot for the Chiefs. They are notorious for coming out flat in weird spots just when you think they're going to blow somebody out. It's usually on the road, and it's usually to an inferior team. They've got a huge division game next week against the Chargers on the road. I think the Chiefs come out flat. They may lose it outright, but I definitely like the Falcons plus the points.
There you go. Pick against the Chiefs. So who would have thought that one? I also think the under is a pretty solid play here because I don't think either team is going to be able to run the ball. I really don't. And I think there's going to be lots of 3-and-outs, lots of punts, and, maybe even a special teams touchdown that could determine this game. We really haven't seen a ton of special teams like scores lately. I think this coming week 3, 4, I thought we start to see that. So there you go. There's our Sunday group of games. Don't forget, if you haven't done so, like and subscribe. We send out Thursday's game. We post it at our Picks and Parlays channel here on Wednesday evenings. We post the Sunday's game on Thursday evening, and we post the Monday Night Football game, which we're going to be recording next. We post it on Saturday. So make sure you like and subscribe and use that promo code EDGE to save 20% off. All right, good luck.